So, welcome back to Who Would Win. This is from Buying the Bunny, who has the question, who would win in a fight, All Might versus Gumball. I'm not going to lie. I do these suggestions because you're asked for them. Every once in a while, there's a suggestion I just don't feel I can do. That was actually the case with the Zanpakuto video yesterday. Um, the actual suggestion was something I'm like, okay, I don't know this character, I don't watch this show, and I don't know how many other people watch the show, so I'll be honest, I'm not going to do a video on that. But most of the that's 99, like 95 times out of 100, 95% of the time, I still do it. I'm not going to lie, though. I kind of don't, I'm starting to not like, no, not like starting to, I started to get a little annoyed. I think that's a good way to put it. With the character with built-in limitations and the world laws that they have created for this character in society and the world they live in. AKA All Might, what was he, the ninth user? No, he was the eighth. He was the eighth user. Because there were 6 quirks. The original one didn't actually had a quirk, but didn't mean anything. And then there was him. The eighth user of all for one with all his physicality, which we know as Prime, he could hit like a nuclear bomb basically. Change the weather with strikes, move at supersonic speeds, highly durable. Years of combat experience, all that great stuff. And then he got messed up by all for one. I had to remember. I always have that man. It's like one for all for one, one for all for one. So you can only do it for limited. All that stuff. And Toon Force, because I fell into this trap a little bit with the SpongeBob thing. SpongeBob versus Aquaman, Super Friends Aquaman. Where if you haven't seen my video on that, you can check out what I thought about that, or what my prediction had been. And in hindsight, I'm like, no, SpongeBob's probably going to win it. But while Toon Force is definitely a thing, I don't always take that in consideration. Because let's be very clear right now. Without the Toon Force, Gumball is wrecked. Wrecked completely. Because that's all these characters are. That is the problem here with any of these characters, is that's actually all they have going for them, is frickin' Toon Force. And with the mask, it's one thing, because there are characters we see that can still trick the mask. Lobo beat the mask. Like, outright, he beat the mask. He found a way to make him take the mask off. There are characters strong enough to counteract gag characters, aka Toon Force, like Beerus. Beerus is stated to be strong enough that's like, no, Toon Force gag characters, that don't work. Now, before you say, no, they said gag character, not Toon Force, that is literally the Japanese equivalent of the same thing. Don't even try to argue that with me. Now, spoof character, you can argue that. I don't agree. I don't say spoof is a parody. Spoof or parody is the same as Toon Force or gag. That is a different meaning. I acknowledge that. Saitama is a parody / spoof. But that's a different argument. But characters like Gumball, I take issue with, because when I look up the Toon Force, or look up what they're capable of doing, I'm like, well, Jesus Christ, it's another freaking OP character who just can do anything he wants in the right context. So how is this a fair fight? So, like, Gumball, for instance, highly durable, survived near-death experiences, stated his soul once left his body. But that's not confirmed. He can move at supersonic speeds to the point where he ignites himself. He has literally a universal remote, which basically controls his universe. A magic notebook, which he writes things down and it happens. Seriously, what the hell? But believe it or not, and he can survive in the vacuum of voids and stuff like that. But believe it or not, after reading up on him more, believe it or not, All Might, I think, wins this fight. Do you want to know why I think All Might wins this fight while you're watching the video? Of course you want to know why All Might wins this fight. But you just said he had Toon Force. You said he has all these things. I did say that. I did. And you know what? He does have all those things. Legitimately. He has all those things. He has, let me just see here. Where are they? He's, where is, there we go. He has his universal remote, which, if I'm not mistaken, is, with optional equipment. He does have, the death manipulation with a notebook that can kill people, spatial manipulation, change the set of stairs and into a moving escalator with the notebook. The notebook and those things are extreme in these universal are extremely powerful weapons. But Gumball has a massive set of weaknesses. What I'm actually reading off right now. He's naive, lazy, cowardly, and cocky. That's the thing. He lacks combat experience, is cowardly, and more often than not, you'll just run away from the opponent instead of directly confronting them in a fight. Now, if you want to talk about prime, just first predominant engagement, well then, sorry, bug. That would mean All Might wins the confrontation because the guy just runs away. But All Might's not going to let that happen. He's also a pacifist. On one occasion, he felt remorse after sending a character named Rob to the Void and didn't hesitate to save him despite Rob ruining his life. He rarely takes things seriously at first, which would be terrible in this fight, and is vulnerable to underestimate his opponents, which would be terrible in this fight. Very prone to making ignorant decisions, is highly afraid of water and can't swim. Building up his toxicity takes a lot of time and drastically weakens him. Same before, I don't even know what that means. The universal remote is as durable as an actual TV remote, which means All Might can move so fast and so quick they could just break it. It's easily capable of being destroyed. It can also run out of batteries. And despite the helmet's luck, it can be knocked off his head. He has a luck helmet with ranged attacks. Like an air blast from All Might, the Magic Notebook has a limited amount of pages, and erasing a page reverses any changes. It can easily be ripped from his possession and destroyed. If the console is defeated, the game will end. Gumball has so many things on his side, but he's so freaking... He's got so many weaknesses, and all of his heaviest hitting equipment is so easily destroyed, and it doesn't help that he's a coward and would make bad decisions most of the time, that someone who is actually competent in what they're doing, like an All Might, would easily exploit that and quickly. So believe it or not, even though Gumball, by all counts, could win this fight, his personality, his ignorance, his inability to take things seriously at first, whereas All Might noticing weapons in his hand, them doing things, he could easily overcome Gumball's advantage, the advantages Gumball does have, and then just completely start beating the hell out of him. Now, do I think he'd kill him? Probably not. He's still a cartoon character. He's got the ability of not true rubber hose animation like Popeye, but he's got the standard abilities of any cartoon character about being able to take near serious damage and being able to survive a lot of near-death experiences, as it's stated. Plus, Gumball does just have resistances that All Might can't do anything for. He's actually immune to time manipulation. Apparently knows how to use an invisible car, which is weird. Teleportation in some way. It's just a cartoon. But that's the reason why, believe it or not, I think All Might could would actually win this. Because despite everything Gumball has, he's still just a kid. He's cocky, arrogant, and cowardly. So All Might being that bad, if he tries to pull out, don't make me use this. Oh, an autograph. Here you go. All Might says hello. Hello. What? He might just take this and just right into the... Wait, don't! Hello. Wait, what happened in here? Nothing. Wait, All Might, hello? Rained cheeseburgers. Amazing. Wait a second. You are defeated, villain. No! All Might, that's a scenario, because of cartoon freaking logic, that is a scenario that could happen. And I'm going to get everyone who's a Gumball fan on my ass in this video. I know for a fact that it's going to happen. Okay, maybe not every Gumball fan. There might be Gumball fans who agree with me. I didn't watch Gumball. This was well after my time, and yeah, no. But yeah, I really don't like pairing off Toon Force characters against non-Toon Force characters, because everyone does that just so the non-Toon Force character will lose to the Toon Force character they want him to lose to. That is all. Don't freaking try to argue it any other way. There's no rational reason these two should be in a fight together. even by versus standards, there's no rational reason. So don't try to come at me with that weak ass sauce and be like, there's a scenario, they're very similar, because no, they're not. Don't even try. You just want to one up. You want to just throw the one up to your Toon Force character and be like, yay! SpongeBob can beat Goku. SpongeBob can beat Superman. You think I'm lying? There's people who will argue that crap. And in some basis, you're right, because of all the Toon Force they can throw out there. Your only counter to Toon Force is either a character so strong that they are unaffected by Toon Force, a la Beerus or something like that, or B, another Toon Force character with stronger Toon Force. That's it. That's all you have. That's why Toon Force characters are irritating as hell to be putting in versus fights. They really are. And I always hate using them, because I always try to argue when that happens. I always try to argue my best argument for the non-Toon Force character for a scenario that they can win. Now, in this case, because of how bad at what they do Gumball is, I think All Might actually would be the likely candidate surprise. This is one of those few cases where Toon Force doesn't help him win the fight. In fact, it actually could hurt him, especially if All Might mistakes the magic notebook for an autograph book, signs it, realizes what it is, and just writes Gumball into jail or whatever. Writes that he's defeated. So ultimately, this is my thoughts. Bring on the hate. Let's get this over with. I'll see you for the next one later.